Hello everyone and welcome back. On today's speed build, we'll be working behind resin services, but to get things started, I have to terraform all this water surrounding resin services and my island, just because it'll get in the way of future builds. So I went ahead and terraformed all the surrounding water. And if anyone has taken out all their water on their island, they know how long this really took. So I'm glad I could speed this up for you guys, because this part was pretty boring. About to finish up here, and then next I am going to work on expanding out the area I built previously. So I'm going to terraform out pretty far. You see here I'm currently expanding out this area because I do plan on putting something here in the future, but that will be in future episodes. I'm really excited for that portion, but as of right now I need to expand this out pretty far. The plans I have up here, I'm not too sure quite yet, but I was kind of just going with the flow. I was trying to make this look pretty organic. I didn't want anything too square, so that's what I was really working on at the beginning. But I wanted to get started kind of putting some, greenery around. I wanted to make sure that this spot kind of fit with the theme. I wanted to place down all kinds of different things like shrubs, flowers, palm trees, just the normal stuff. I kind of built like an arch type thing going around resident services. So I wanted to play off of that, and I wanted to build around that. So when you looked up, you were able to see all kinds of, nice trees, stuff like that. I wanted to go for some height as well. So in the back, I was going to put some fences. I think this looks nice. I love the fence item in general, so I'll be using quite a bit of that behind resident services. As you see here, it gave some really nice height, so I kind of just rode with it, picked up a lot of fences, and just started to place some behind it. Then after placing down all my fences, I went ahead and placed down some more windflowers, some bushes. Here I was contemplating on what I wanted to put like pathing wise. And I actually went with something different. I wanted to, instead of placing down a lot of roads, I wanted to place down some sand path. So I went ahead and did that. I was making a little patch here so I can put a bike or some sort of like post. I didn't know what I wanted at this point, but I went with the bike. I think it looks really nice. These cruiser bikes look amazing for this island. So I went ahead and placed one there. And now I'm starting to place down my street pathing. I wanted this to be kind of like an arch going around. I think that will look really nice. It will help fill in the area a lot. So I went ahead and started working on the road. And while I was placing down this road, I learned that it was pretty hard to try to figure out how I wanted to shape it. I wanted it to kind of, flow way better. It was pretty difficult to get these lined up properly. I took a lot of time to actually try to figure out how to do this. It came out pretty good though, I think. Getting it to turn just in the right way. I wanted it to kind of mirror on the other side as well. I know it wouldn't match up perfectly, but I wanted to give it that effect that it would. So working on this did take me quite some time. And if you guys ever use road paths, I'm sure you guys understand where I'm coming from here. But it really did work out good. I just kept going. I was trying to figure out these little strips here. I couldn't get them to match up too good, but I know some ways to kind of hide that to make them look good, because I'm not perfect, but I just kind of went with the flow. I did decide to kind of reorganize them so they did work better, and I do think it actually ended up working out. Just about to finish up my first strip of road here, and I wanted to lay out more of the pathing sidewalk just so I can get kind of a grasp on where I'm going. So I went ahead and started placing down some of the plain square sidewalk path. I kept on going down to see how far I wanted to go down. This will be a pretty lengthy road. I wanted to reach all the way over to where our last speedball was, which was our beach shops. So I started placing down some more pathing here, trying to get this to line up. And then soonly after, I realized that I would need to expand out because if you see on the top, my road would just go straight off a cliff. So I definitely would need to work on that, but I wanted to finish this up first just so I knew where I was going. Placing down some of the last paths on the road. The road is actually turning out pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. Now it's time to expand out here. I went ahead and started expanding this longer portion out here just to use as a reference point, and finishing up on this side. I want to be able to place down sidewalks and stuff so you can walk along it, or I could place down fencing. So I went ahead and finished up expanding out this area here and started to place down my sidewalk pathing. Because eventually I want to use this as kind of like a look over point, like so you can look down and see more of the city or whatever I decide to build there. So it worked out perfectly. And then I started to place down my iron fencing. I love this green, it works really well with the beach island theme. But I wanted to get rid of this portion here just to give it some, I don't know, like so it can look a little bit better so it's not so square. So I went ahead and erased all the terraform I did on this side. And I was going to mirror the same side, but I wanted to finish up my road pathing here just so I knew where I was going. I got the measurements down. I kind of mirrored the fences for the time being just so I know where I needed to break the terraforming. Now it's time to get started back on the road, so I went ahead and placed down some more pathing here. I needed to work on the angle going down, so I ran back and forth quite a bit just to try to mirror it. I know it won't match up perfectly, but I want to get as close as I possibly can. So I took the time to kind of measure this out so I'm able to kind of mirror it. Placing down my paths going downward, I need to work on going down. This is the kind of the points that trip me up the most. Lining up these paths can be a little difficult at sometimes, but I got it to work overall. And after I got it lined up the way I wanted, I decided to take a break on the roads just because it got a little bit stale for me after a while. I wanted to work on the back of resident services, so the spot you'll actually see during the flyover. So I wanted to place down some trees and make it look good. So I went ahead and started placing down some sand pathing so I can put down some palm trees. I didn't know what I wanted to build here quite yet, so I just kind of was playing around, seeing what I can come up with. So started with placing down some trees, give it some height and that curb appeal, and placing down some other stuff, but at this point I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went ahead and started working on the right side of resident services, placing down some trees, trying to hide these like cliffs and stuff I made just to give it that, I don't know, tropical look. Placing down some shrubs and some green mums, my vertical fences. I love the vertical fences, they look awesome. And I actually was pretty pleased with how this one turned out. I decided after all to dig up some of these trees, and I wanted to build something pretty unique, I think. I started with placing down some sand paths. What I was going for, I want you to imagine if you were like going on a beach trip with your family or your significant other, and there's not a lot of parking spot near a kind of like a beach area, and sometimes you gotta park in the sand. So I wanted to replicate that. I think it would be very unique. So I was trying to find some items that would work with that. Like when you drive by the coast and you just see all kinds of vehicles or bikes parked out on the sand. I wanted to do that. So I started placing down some smaller vehicles, my cruiser bike and a scooter. I think these will work perfectly. I really like how this was turning out, and I placed down a pear tree right here in the middle just to give it that height. And I wanted to work on, just giving some height on the sidewalk. So I placed down some curved lamps here. These look amazing. I love these a lot. Also, I wanted to place down just some pathing around just to extend it out, give it more, like where it's not all just grass. I wanted to place down some more sand pathing here. I placed down some more green mums, and I was placing down some sand pathing just so like you can walk there around the tree, make it look more realistic. And I started to drop down some shells, and I placed a coconut by the palm tree just to make it look like one has fallen off the tree. And sometimes too, you can come across some toll, like places where you have to pay to park. I wanted to incorporate that in this as well. So I went ahead and placed down an ABD to make it look like you had to pay to park here. And to give it some more character, I placed down some surfboards and some rocks just around This is just kind of a fun build for me. I really enjoyed doing this one. I wanted to place down some more sand pathing here, just to give it some more like sandy look, I guess. After that, I was pretty pleased how that turned out, and I decided I was going to place down some houses here too. I wanted to put down at least 2 to 3, so I went ahead and started marking out those. I wanted it to go around kind of where I was building the street to give it that look, you know, like people actually live here. After getting some of the houses mapped out, I went ahead and finished off this area over here just with some pathing for the time being to help me out later on. And now it's time to finish up the road here. So I went ahead and started placing down my ankle road here. I did soon realize afterwards I would have to expand this area out even more, but I wanted to finish up this road just to get, you know, like the measurements and everything right. So I went ahead and finished this going all the way down, and then placing down the more road paths here. I really think this is going to turn out nice. I love the islands where you have to go up the like side of the road instead of just like boring straight and across, just stuff like that. I think it'll give this build more dimension, I guess you can say. I don't know, it looks really nice. So I went ahead and finished up this road and placing down my sidewalk path. After I finished up my sidewalk path, I went down and I started terraforming. This was a lot of terraforming in this episode. I'm glad I could skip it all because it is pretty boring. So I went ahead and finished this up, and I worked on expanding my road out some more. I'm actually almost done with the road. I'm pretty happy with it. I just wanted to go along the back of these buildings just so you had somewhere to go to. I wasn't too sure where I wanted to end this road, but for right now I'm going to end it right here. I just wanted somewhere to lead up to the staircase, so for right now I'm going to leave it here. I might change it later on, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know if I do. And on the back of these buildings, I was having a hard time. I wanted to hide the building, so I went ahead and placed down some more of my white fences here. It actually worked out pretty well. I pushed them in all the way at the back of the building, just to give it that look that, you know, nothing else is back there. So I went ahead and finished placing down my fencing. And to finish off one of the sides of the buildings, I went ahead and placed down in some more trees and shrubs just to make it look nice. And I put this pear tree here, I think it would look good. And this is something very fun that I got to do during this episode. I used some of my cards, my amiibo cards, to get some new villagers. I'm pretty happy with the choices I made. I know eventually I will be villager hunting for some of my villagers, but for right now I wanted to just, I don't know, speed up the process. So I went with Azalea. She's so cute. I also learned, I may have done this wrong, I probably did, but you can't amiibo card a villager in unless you have 10 villagers, because it won't allow you to kick out your old villagers because you have more plots to sell. So I went ahead and invited Tangy as well. I love Tangy, she's so cute, she's going to fit in this island very well. So I placed down her house and Sasha's house right beside each other, and now I'm going to work on their houses. Starting off, I placed down some sand patches just around their house. I didn't want to use road pathing around here. I wanted to use more sand. I love this pathing code, so I went ahead and did that. I wanted to make like a little spot for Sasha's car, and I had some more ideas with Tangy, but I was just kind of winging it right now, trying to see what I can come up with, trying to place down some trees and stuff just to see what I like. I went back to my storage shed multiple times just to try to figure out items I could place here. But I do love the idea of Sasha having a car there, so I left it. And that's one of the most fun things about this game, is trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, just playing around with the items. Because honestly, it took me many hours just to figure out what I wanted to do here. Because I had so many ideas, like future ideas planned to see like how this would all like work together. I didn't know what I wanted to do at all. I just placed on a lot of items to see what would work. And I actually came up with something pretty cool and unique, I think. Again, placing down a lot of fences. These items are awesome. It gives off really good height, and it kind of closes off that backside to where you're not just looking off into the sky. Placing down some more shrubs, some more flowers, put a bench over by the tree, and a utility pole. Putting down some final touches here. I changed out that bench. I wanted it to be white rather than the red. I just think the red is too bright of a color for right there, so I swapped out for the white. Now I'm going to work on terraforming. I need to expand this part out even more, so I went ahead and started doing that. I wanted to make more space for another house, so I did that. I placed Azalea's house right below Tangy's house, and I wanted to give them a yard. Like I said before, I wanted this to look organic, so I made sure to give it some shape and some texture around there. And I finally changed out these simple panels with these kind of like rattan looking white panels. I placed down a palm tree right here, and now it's time to work on the yards. I started off with placing down some more palm trees around Azalea's house. Looked down to make sure it gave it some good height, and I wanted to place down a palm tree right in this little circle I made. Grabbing some more items just for around the house. Didn't know what I wanted to use just yet. I just grabbed some stuff just in the case I did. I wanted to place down some more sand pathing around her house. I really love how this is turning out. I think this is a good kind of medium between the roads. The sand path is just awesome. So I placed it all around her house, just in the front, and I wanted to make it like a little, kind of like a little patio thing. So I placed down some lawn chairs just around for the time being. And then I ran over to Tangy's house because I had a cool idea in mind. I was going to make it look like she had a boat and a car just towing it. So I was working on that. I placed down some of this tile. I think it worked kind of like a garage type thing. I don't know. And this spot was a little tricky. Working with kind of a smaller area with these bigger items, it was some finagling here and there. I needed to find out how it would fit, I guess, better. I extended out the driveway as much as I can, and I liked it, but I wanted to expand out this area over here just so it didn't look like it was like falling off the edge. So I wanted to create some sort of railing. So I went ahead and expanded out that area. Went back to my storage shed to see what type of railing I could use, and I was going to use this safety railing. I think it looks really nice. Trying to get this to fit though was a struggle, you could say. I placed it down and then realized I needed some pathing underneath of it, so I picked it right back up and I started to place down this stone pathing just so it can look textured, looks nice. And I finished it up by placing down my railing. While I was finishing up here, I was trying to decide what else I wanted to build around these houses. It took me a little bit of time to try to figure out what I wanted. So I just kind of went back to my storage shed a lot during this point, trying to figure out items I wanted to use. I grabbed a little bit of everything just to see if it would fit correctly. I wanted to fill in these spots as much as I can for the time being. I may come back later just to do some touch-ups, but like I was saying, I wanted to build kind of like a little area in the front for Azalea's house, so I went ahead and placed down a barbecue and this nice little tree in front of Tangy's house. That actually looks really nice. I might use those a lot more. Placing down some bushes and some sand pathing around here. I wanted to make a little area just where you can lay out. So I put down some sand paths, some flowers, and you can't go wrong with placing a trash can down by a house. After that, I ran back down and I grabbed some bushes, just some other stuff I'm going to need to finish up here. Ran back up and started to place down some more of the fencing just to give it some more height to separate the simple panels from the house. Wanted to grab a beach towel so you have something to lay on over on that side by Azalea's house. Wanted to finish up this tree over here just with some bushes, and you always forget to grab some more flowers. So I ran back down and was looking for my green mums. Went ahead and got one of those and placed it right here. And I placed down my beach towel. And I wanted to make some pathing just to get to the backyard, so I went ahead and placed down some sand pathing just so you can get to the back. And that actually finishes up the neighborhood for the time being. Like I said, I might come back and add some more here and there. I will show you guys if I do, but for the time being, I'm very happy with it and how it came out. Just doing a little walkthrough of everything so you guys can stop the video and see if there's any spots you wanted to see. And going across my road, and I think this turned out so good. I love this part right here specifically. I think it, I don't know, I think it looks very realistic on how like a beach island would be. Park in the sand wherever. And that wraps up today's long speed build. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all your nice comments. I love reading them. I love replying to them. It makes me so happy to see you guys are enjoying a lot of my content. But if you guys did like today's video, please do consider liking, subscribing, There'll be more to come, but that's it for today. Until next time.